Alright, we're here with Jewell.
Yes.
Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do?
Well, I'm Jewell, and I am a long-time voice actor for Funimation, and a few years ago I started directing for them as well, ADR Director.
Now, we all know Funimation, they do pretty much everything anime, all the popular animes.
You know, might as well let the best company do it. That's the way I look at it.
And you guys, based out in Texas, right?
Yes.
Alright, so what's the commute there to get from pretty much everywhere you get to?
Well, people from Texas are generally used to having to drive long distances and not thinking much of it. I actually live in Fort Worth, and Funimation itself is in Flower Mound, which is right above the airport in the DFW airport. So for me to get there is going to take a while anyway. It usually takes anywhere between 45 minutes to an hour.
I've always been really curious
for
about
me to
that.
get there.
Do you guys offer tours? You know, when people come down?
Yeah, they do. They do tours. There's at least one tour a month, and oftentimes.
So it has to be scheduled.
Yes.
Okay.
It's best if it's scheduled. They will look at you very strangely if you just show up and say you want a tour. That would be a bad idea. But yeah, if you contact them, they can set up tours.
Okay. So you played Jimmy Kudo in Case Closed. How was that experience?
I loved it, and for so many reasons. First of all, I like the show. I understand it was a little strange for the Western audience in that they don't like to mix their murder with children.
I loved it.
I thought it was great
I loved
too.
it. I was a kid growing up watching that show.
And that's the thing is I find that there are more people that are into it now than there were at the time it came out, and they're all the people that started watching it when it came out, but now they're old enough to go, hey, why isn't there more Case Closed? So it's been interesting for me to see that.
I was always curious about that. Now, was that a licensing issue as far as episodes?
I think I don't want to start any rumors, but I believe it was really just a business decision in that they weren't selling as much of that property as they would have liked to, and so if it's not making the money, might as well pull it.
Yeah, 5 seasons. 5
seasons, I think 6 movies.
Oh, did you?
Mm-hmm.
Did you still play? Was that Jimmy Kudo in those as
yes.
well? Oh, okay.
And then you have the other reasons, cool character, and very few flaps, because most of the time he's just a mental voice.
I think it's making a comeback. Crunchyroll has actually picked it up for their streaming thing, and it's getting a lot of hype, a lot of popularity.
Oh, I would love to see that come back.
I would too. How much more of a difference is there from acting to ADR directing?
I think you have to have some understanding of the acting side in order to direct. It doesn't mean you have to be an actor, but you have to have an understanding, I think, of how the process works, sometimes how actors work, because every actor is very, very different from the last one. Sometimes they're very sensitive, sometimes they're very overbearing, and it puts your people skills to the test. Really, is you have to learn how to react to different people in different situations.
I mean, that's gotta be tough. You have to pretty much adjust to every actor that comes into the booth and how.
Absolutely. Every actor is their own person.
So they need a jungle scenery to get in the character or something.
Whatever you have to do, and there are people that are most comfortable, whenever you can break the ice or make jokes with them, whatever, they get more and more comfortable. And then there are people that if they're doing a serious scene, they want to be in a serious moment, and so you have to learn to speak to them differently. All right, we're going to do this next one. Your mother has just told you that you're not actually her son. Because they want to be in that dark moment when they take off. For that, you don't want to have just told them a joke. And you're like, oh mom, I'm so sorry. That would be terrible.
So you have to set the mood as a director, basically. That's
yes, definitely. Set the mood, keep them in line, because you're going to jump around in the script unless you're one of the leads who is there throughout the entire show. Most of the time, you're going to jump around in the script and go, okay, now you've left this and they went through this here, and now you've got to come to here, and you want to sum up what has happened in between the last time you saw them in the show and where they are now in the show, and give them a brief example of, and here's what's coming up, here's what you're going to do, this happens all of a sudden, and go. Because it's all a very, very fast process. I think it would surprise most people to be in the booth and see the actual ADR process.
Yeah, most people think that, you know, it's real boring. Like, if you're not voice acting, you're not really doing anything. But it seems like it's a lot more.
No, there's always something. I mean, you've got the engineer on one side of you, and he's doing his job, which is listening to what it sounds like, while also, you know, placing things where they need to go so everything matches the flaps fairly well. And the director is also listening to what it sounds like through the equipment and the recording side of it. We're also listening for the acting side of it. The emotion is the emphasis in that sentence right? Did he say it the right way for us to be able to respond in this way on the next sentence? Does the voice sound like it's where it's supposed to be? Is it too high? Is it too low? And all of these things are going on simultaneously all the time. You know, it's all part of what we do. I think most people would be surprised by that. And then to see what the engineers have to go through and how good they have to be in order to get things done in an expedient way. Yeah.
Do you have any stories that you know that might have been funny, or anything that's popped out to you while you were ever recording?
There are always silly little things that happen. I mean, outtakes happen all the time. It's good to be fast when you read. It's good to be able to read on the fly. Not everyone can read on the fly. Some people read faster than others. Some people need a little time to comprehend what's going on. You know, just different people. But outtakes happen because we all slip up. Even in normal, everyday conversation, we slip up. And sometimes we say some funny things that we didn't mean to say. It just came out that way because for some reason your mouth and your tongue were not working together. And that kind of stuff happens all the time. And sometimes you laugh over it. And, you know, sometimes we keep it.
Yeah, we have a lot of outtakes and stuff we have to just put in a separate folder.
Right.
For later.
So I mean, and you have to remember that as well. The one thing you'll almost never see in a dubbed anime is someone messing up what they said.
That's crazy because that's something I always want more when I buy the DVDs. I always want those extra features where like an hour, then people just messing up.
But in real life, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
It's kind of like reactions. Reactions are just the opposite. In real life, we don't make reactions. So it's another aspect of the acting that you kind of have to. You have to go, all right, well, I normally wouldn't make a clenched teeth noise if someone made me angry. I wouldn't go. You'd never hear me do that, but in anime, you're going to hear it all the time.
Yeah.
You know, all of those reactions, and we have fun with those as well. Sometimes we'll go a little bigger than we should, or you'll see someone scream and we'll go, oh, well.
Oh, okay.
Outtake reel.
What would you say your favorite series is that you worked on so far?
Oh, that's a tough one.
You get one. You get one.
I'll go from the acting side of it. I would say Claire Stanfield in a show called Bakano. It's a pretty crazy show. Gets a little confusing at points because the timeline skips around a little bit. But I played a character named Claire Stanfield, and he is a whack job. But at the same time, really likable. He's one of those guys that, you know, he's known as the rail tracer, and he's called that because there's this train that people get on, and for some reason when it arrives where it's going, everybody on the train is dead, and there's blood everywhere. And you know, this guy handles it like it's nothing. It's just like what he does, and seems like a normal guy until he turns into the rail tracer, and then he kills everybody.
Okay, Bakano, writing that down.
You should totally check it out. You gotta see Bakano.
That sounds.
You will love that character. I love that character.
But last question here. Anything for our fans, for your fans, anything you say to them that, you know, what would help them get into the business, what would inspire them, what would you say to get them into voice acting or directing?
Well, I would say probably the same thing most of us always say, and we've learned over the years that there are certain things we need to tell people so they don't get it wrong or out of order. And some of those things are, if you want to be an actor, take acting classes, study acting. You don't always have to take classes, you know. I have no problem pitting some of my younger experiences against anybody else, and most of that was me watching television and being able to recognize someone that was really good at what they did and wanting to emulate that. And you know, you can learn that way just as well as you can learn any other way. But learn what you're doing first is the important thing.
I would be just jump out there and say, hey, I know how to
You
sound
know,
this character.
we have people from time to time that have never had any real experience that step in and it's like, oh, they get it, okay, and they just take off running with it.
It's natural talent.
Right. But most of them have been acting all throughout school. Some of them went to college for it. Some of them have degrees in it. So you know what you're doing. That would be the biggest thing.
Okay.
The directing side, I don't think you can come to the directing side without the performance side. I really don't. Some people have visions for things. For example, let's at random pick Alfred Hitchcock.
Okay.
Known for being a great director. He did some on-camera stuff as well. Not really an actor.
I've seen a few.
Yeah. He's at that point he's just a guy who steps on camera to say a few things. But not an actor, but had a vision for what he wanted to see on the screen. I think directing in any capacity, whether it's ADR or otherwise, you at least have to have that vision. You have to have that idea of what you want from what you're going to work on. And things will surprise you. You know, I get reads all the time with actors that it's like, well, it's not what I had in mind, but it actually works better than I thought it was going to. So that happens as well, but that's usually from an actor that knows what they're doing and has studied what they're doing and is a performer.
Acting first, directing second.
It depends. It really depends. It depends on your vision. You know, if you're a performer, then of course you're going to go acting first.
Okay.
If you're a visionary and you have ideas, if you're an idea guy, go director.
Okay. Well,
but overall, study what you're doing. Know what you're doing.
Okay. Well, that about wraps us up. Thank you, Jerry.
Absolutely, my pleasure.